Hey guys, welcome back to round 4 of the Seattle Regional Championship. Joined by Amelia Bott-Miller once again to watch Chase Moloney and Steve Barrie. Chase is playing the Black Kira Manectric deck that he, Trevor Reed, and David Cohen have been playing at various states. And it looks like Steve's playing Virizion Genesect. I don't actually know how this matchup goes.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
I assume...
Well, I believe I played against Chase, actually, with Virizion Genesect, and essentially Spear Tomb ended up winning the matchup because I couldn't play G-Booster, and then you can't beat Rough Seas without being able to deal the 200 damage.
Right.
So...
It also seems like one of Virizion Genesect's inherent advantages is kind of taken away because Manectric has acceleration too.
Right.
And it can one-shot with putting energy onto the Black Kyurem.
Right. And everything gets one hit by the Black Kyurem.
So that makes sense. I think it might just depend on starts. I imagine that the Virizion deck could probably have a better time if they get a quick start out, but you're right, that Spirit Team might cause some trouble.
It felt about as close to an auto loss as you could get.
Really?
Yeah. Especially in, recent times.
Right. Interesting. Well, that'll be good for Chase then. We'll see how it goes. I'm not sure. I know Steve is an Oregon player. I don't know if has an invite or is close. Chase is like one of the top 5 or 10 in North America. At this point, just playing to try and secure that top 16 spot at Worlds. It might already be secured, but I guess more prizes and points never hurt. You can see Chase resolving a Battle Compressor, getting rid of an Empoleon, an Egg, and one other card. Gonna be able to bring back that Empoleon one day with the Archies.
Maybe that day will be right now.
Hopefully. I've turned one deck once. Not in this deck, so I don't know what the competition is like, but other decks have gotten it at one time. Spirit Link.
Yeah, he has a pretty good start here. Gets all the things in the discard pile in a new hand.
Yeah, and energy in the discard pile too.
Yeah.
2 Manectrics with Spirit Links on them.
Yep. He may choose to hold it just in case of a tool scrapper or whatever, but...
Yeah, that's true. I guess there's not...
Or Megaphone, I guess
Megaphone,
now.
Yeah. I guess there's not much of a reason.
That's what I mean.
I'm not going to play that Keldeo because of its grass weakness, so...
Yeah.
No real reason to open yourself up to that. Second energy on that. Virizion. There's a Juniper. He had a Zerosic in hand. He could have Zerosic off the Spirit Link, but I don't think he can sit back on that.
Probably. And this is a good start for Steve. If he can get that G booster down early, it'll help him out.
Does Chase have a Supporter Versus Seeker in his hand?
I'm not sure. I think I saw an N, maybe.
Okay.
But could be
as long
wrong.
as he just has, as long as he's able to draw some more cards next turn, maybe find a Mega. I found a lot of times, like when we were first discussing this deck, I thought, it's fine, but you have to, Manectric onto a Black Kyurem 2 times, but really, like, you just are so powerful by Manectricing onto other Manectrics. Like,
yeah. The problem is that Manectric is just like really good by itself.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just like it doesn't. At a certain point, if you have 2 Manectrics online, it just doesn't matter what your opponent does because you're just gonna bring back the energy. That one gets knocked out. You do it again, and
it's insane value. Like,
absolutely.
The Mega has so much HP, and 110 for 2 is nuts.
Absolutely, I can definitely see. We had a conversation, you and I, with David Cohen, who was talking about he bought a bunch of Manectrics because he feels like they're going to be good for the next couple of years, and I have to agree. I don't see a reason why, at least obviously, they wouldn't be good.
And even though fighting's fairly prevalent right now, and it's still around, so.
Yeah, we're not going to have any Landorus.
Right.
Once the rotation happens. Which I think is the card, like, Landorus is the actually broken card in the fighting decks. Lucario's fine. Donphan is its own little thing, but Landorus is a whole nother world.
Yeah. another battle compressor here. Just going to be thinning his deck mostly. Put some energy in there.
Getting the waters in there is really important because you don't want to draw them. You need as many lightning as possible, but the Black Kirim does need them.
All right, video game seniors, standings are now final. We need the top 16 players who are 16th place or higher.
The combination of Battle Compressor and Lysander's trump card is really interesting to me. These cards that don't really do anything, I guess, but
yeah, I think we talked about this before, and I think it's really interesting to have a lot of discard manipulation that doesn't involve energy directly, since that's all we've ever had before. And essentially, you get to play the game over again if you want to.
Yeah, for sure. The first time I had, because when Lysander's trump card came out, I assumed things like Night March are going to be more prevalent, things like Flareon, but really, Sidetoad Slippuff was the first time where trump card really impressed me. Just being able to go, hey, look, I'm drawing 3 extra cards a turn, 2 extra cards a turn. Oh, I ran out of hammers. Oh,
yeah, it's extremely diverse.
I think it's good too. I think it's one of those cards. It doesn't do anything broken. It just lets lets decks be a thing.
Yep. And it lets Battle Compressor be close to broken, probably just too good, but
I think I wouldn't classify it as too good because I don't think it just opens the door for a lot of strategies, I guess. So we see Chase start digging for a Mega Manectric now. He Battle Compressored away the rest of his Rough Seed, which is smart. He knows the Virizion deck's not going to run any stadiums. And he did find the Ultra Ball with the Acro Bike. There is an interesting back and forth with this deck because you want to dump those waters into the discard, but you also need to draw energy.
Yeah.
Manectric is a 2-energy attacker, so you need the first couple turns of energy, and then you also want to... You actually have to attach to your Black Kirim if you want to attack with it, unless you want to set it for 2 turns. So just kind of you have to consider what you're doing and what your likelihood of hitting energy is for sure. And Chase does have a Black Kirim in his hand, or at least he did at one point in this turn. So I'm interested to see if he will put energy onto it or just go onto the...
It's just going for the Manectric for now. It's fine. Manectric just trades really well with Genesect.
Absolutely.
And luckily Virizion is not KO'd by this, so he'll actually get another turn of energy acceleration. But
yeah, he's actually lucky he caught that too, because that the damage that he did have on him would have put him at 20, which would have let the other Manectric overrun if it needed to, which would have been just insane. There's a Versus Seeker for a Juniper. Steve with Golden Versus Seekers. They're only $30 at this point. If you want to invest in Pokemon cards, I'd definitely buy some of those.
I agree. I am sure they'll be at least 50 at some point.
Oh, I mean, Ultra Balls are almost $100.
Yeah.
Reasonably, they're probably more 70 if you can find good eBay prices, but that's still insane.
Yep.
And they just reprinted Ultra Ball too, and Versus Seeker is probably less safe of a bet because it is a really powerful effect that they don't seem to always want around, but Ultra Ball is legal for the next 2 years.
Yeah, forever. And always unexpanded.
It's true. So there's another Emerald Slash, and to power up that second Genesect.
So I think he did miss an attachment there, which sucks a little bit.
Yeah, he just 4 energy on the Genesect from Emerald Slashes.
Yeah.
I think our trump card is good against this deck too. That's an interesting thing that Steve has to do. As you can see, the Manectric, unless Chase has things, which I don't think he does, isn't going to be able to do much here. Manectric has free retreat too. God, that card is so good. And there's a knockout.
Nuts.
So Chase protecting his Mega, and next turn he'll be able to Rough Seize it down to 1 damage counter.
Yep.
Which even through a G-Booster will still not be enough to knock it out. And Chase still with no supporters in hand off of the prizes. But thankfully he has enough with the Manectric so they can get some stuff going. And I'm sure he would like to find some compressors, dump some energy in the discard.
And that Manectric is just gonna live forever. Like, oh, he doesn't have an attachment.
Oh, just
that's so rough.
retreating to the Mr. Mime.
Can't really see what's in his hand, but
Top deck battle compressor. That's gonna add some value to this. Oh, he even has a Verse Seeker in his hand too.
Yeah.
That's a cool little interaction as well. I really like the idea of people dumping supporters and getting them back with Versus Seeker. It's interesting because the last time Versus Seekers was legal, you and I were both playing it, or I think it was printed in Stormfront. One of those sets, and it definitely did not see play like it did now.
Yeah, it was
we played like one of them in some decks.
Yeah, you played one of them in decks that like had weird supporters, basically.
Yeah.
That's about it.
And now it's like when somebody goes down to less than 4, it's shocking.
I think it's just a like sign of the limitation of supporters right now. Like you only have Juniper and N that are really good draw cards. So you have to be able to use them as much as possible.
Definitely, and there's another Mega Manectric.
Yeah, and 2 is just like basically impossible for Genesect to deal with.
Yeah, it's not looking great. Another battle compressor. Do you feel like they should go back and release Spirit Links for the first generation of Megas, or just leave them as is?
I figure you may as well. Like, I don't think there's a reason not to.
I don't think any of them are so good that they would be.
Yeah.
Like Kangaskhan is the best one still, and it would get better with Spirit Link for sure, but
yeah, but I can't imagine them being any better than Manectric in particular. So
maybe Manectric and Kyogre and all them are just good cards.
Blastoise would like definitely not be awful with a Spirit Link.
Yeah, I'd speed it up a lot more. There's a Spiritomb.
Spiritomb, man.
So it's going to be pretty tough. I also wonder, like, this deck isn't exactly unknown, but it's only, it's only been played in Washington, really.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's caught on.
Yeah, it's only
strange. I think it's insane.
It's only been in one video.
Yeah.
So, like, I wonder if Steve maybe is holding the G booster and just didn't see that play, like, didn't think about it.
Yeah. And I believe both Chase and Trevor made top 8 at that tournament where they played it.
Yeah.
So
they did, and David made top 4 the next week.
Yeah.
Or top 8. And that is one of the advantages when you play a deck like this. This deck is not exactly under the radar, but it's not one of the tier 1 meta decks or whatever, so you do get some advantages from your opponents not knowing how things work or not knowing the specifics of your list.
Yep.
And a 3. I didn't see the other card, I did see a Jirachi, so Chase should be okay regardless.
And you basically can't miss any energy as the Genesect player to have a hope of beating this deck.
Yeah, and we saw Steve miss that turn 2 energy drop and then have to actually retreat into the...
Yeah, he missed twice in a row.
Mr. Mime.
Rough Seas is just nuts.
Yeah, it's so funny that Rough Seas is, like, because this deck is just so fast and powerful that just playing a supporter just like a potion every turn is just like very, very good.
Yep. All those 210 HP guys,
like just the fact that Chase is going to be able to retreat here and then be at 60 next turn if nothing else happens. Like,
Genesec's barely able to hit the Manectric if you have like Deoxys or Muscle Band or whatever, and Rough Seas just makes it even more difficult.
Like that active Genesect cannot knock out the Manectric as it is. Like that's just unreal.
Yeah, it can. It does 120 right now.
Doesn't it?
90 on it. So it would
Doesn't it have 220?
I thought it had 210.
Oh, let's check that. Either way, it's the fact that it's even a discussion is
crazy.
Oh, 210, you're right, yeah. So that makes it a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah.
Chase is going to be forced to retreat here. Also not sure of the energy in Chase's discard pile, but if he has just one water, yeah, it's going to put it on that Black Kyurem.
And luckily for Steve, Chase actually can't KO that Genesect, so it will get another attack off. And potentially be able to... Oh, well, never mind. I was going to say he could red signal the other Manectric and actually get a KO, but...
Does he have the plasma in hand?
He attached to grass.
Right, but does he have the play?
I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because like Manectric isn't gonna really one-hit anything. It's just that it's gonna like hit you, put energy on something else, so that by the time you knock it out,
yeah, it's gonna for sure two-hit you while also putting energy. Well, you can maybe not two-hit it and don't do anything else.
Definitely not one-hitting.
Yeah.
Virizion, which is fine. Like playing the Virizion doesn't really do anything. I don't think you have long enough to attack with it, and also you have the Jirachi on the bench, so that's going to be Chase's last prize if he has a Lysander or anything like that.
Also, Chase is just already up 3 prizes and has not lost anything.
Yeah, like he'll take this prize here, and then he has the Black Kyurem for literally anything that Steve could do. I think Steve's fine not to concede here, though. Like it's been, like Chase is, 99% to win here, but the match hasn't gone on very long. Both the decks are aggressive. It's a deck that Steve might not know about. Like you may as well play out the next probably 2 turns. If Steve could have ever gotten himself into a position where he could bring up the Spiritomb and then knock it out, and then try and G booster the Black Kyurem, he would have been in a different world, but he just didn't have any options.
The problem is that even if you do get the G booster off, you lose the energy. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it just.
I mean, you're just back to square one when this Chase's side of the board probably has 4 or 5 energy.
And then the Mega just goes nuts on energy advantage.
Alright, Chase at 1 prize. Virizion gets sent up, which is an interesting decision because I think that if you actually have any way to win, it's probably going to be with the Genesect. Yeah. Like you probably just don't have a way to win, but I guess he has switch in hand anyway. This is what he was thinking. Yeah, it's going to go ahead and concede. So that was a pretty
that's about how I expected that to go. Just complete lockdown.
Absolutely. And Chase just, like, he has been on a tear this year. Like, I don't think I've been to an event where he hasn't top-aided.
Yeah.
Which is just insane. And they are, Pokemon this year is definitely rewarding those type of people. Like Chase is going to go to his nationals and get like a free trip, I guess. I don't know what you can get, $1,000 or something, and then he's going to go to Worlds and get a free hotel room and flight.
Right.
And obviously you have to perform incredibly well, but because even we were talking, because I haven't been keeping up with all of those things I'm not playing this season, but Serena and I were talking, and top 32 gets $1,000 at National,
Yeah.
which top 32 is no small feat, mind you, but $1,000 pays for your entire trip.
Yeah.
And even top 64 gets $750 or $500 or something, which is most of your trip, if not all of
Yeah,
it
at
too.
least it's the plane ticket at least.
Yeah.
So.
It's really a good time to be a competitive player.
Yep. Unfortunately, you're also paying a pretty hefty number of entry fees.
Yeah, yeah, that's the downside. I mean, I imagine that you're probably paying...
I mean, for someone like Chase, he's obviously going positive or whatever, but, you know, the people who end up in top 64 are probably breaking even or so.
Yeah, I'm imagining you probably
after paying to go to
spend...
nationals still and, like, you know, all those expenses.
You probably spend, what, close to $300 or $400 on entry fees?
Yeah.
If you play in 12 cities and they're 5 each, and then you play in 3 regionals in 3 states and they're 30 and 20. So like $270. No, that's not even counting like flights and things like that, of course. But
gas money, food money, you know.
Right, yeah.
All these
Everything
things
you
add
need to do to survive.
Right.
I wonder if you could eventually, like, I wonder if you were someone, let's say like a Chase Moloney, and let's say the prizes hold up. I wonder at what point you can claim professional status. Like, if you top 8 worlds twice in 2 years or something, and like get this money, because I know that
probably next year.
Yeah, honestly, because I know that you need. I know that when you are self-employed, you can write off a lot of that travel and such. So I wonder how much money you need to actually make. It's possible that prizes don't count, but
yeah,
I'm not sure
I don't know how all of that works.
I'm not a tax lawyer, but.
I assume like high placing at Worlds would be enough, and then
because I know that
sometime next year.
I know that from writing for 6 prizes, I have to fill out tax forms, and that's like not a livable amount of money or anything.
Yeah.
Certainly less than the $25,000 you get for winning Worlds. In game 2, I don't really expect this one to go any differently. Steve went first in game 1.
He just already has the Sphere Tomb too.
What else is in his hand? Because that could...
Yeah, like a...
I see an acro bike, so
yeah.
he has things to do. There's an attach and pass with no supporter. Acro bike.
It's like a rough season something.
Just if you're watching at home, I would definitely not do my acro bikes the way Chase is. Like both cards just blatantly touching his hand. Obviously, Chase is not trying to cheat, but not the most clear way of doing that. It looks like Chase doesn't have any plays actually. He's gonna go ahead and play the Keldeo.
He does have. I thought he had a compressor, but I guess I was wrong. Oh well, this is good for Steve.
Yeah, I think it's just versus seekers. Yeah, it's just a bunch of versus seekers.
Yeah, that's rough. And the other thing about Sphere Tomb is that even if it does get knocked out, you can trump card it back in.
Yeah.
So.
And it's also just a kind of a one prize thing. That, like I don't think Chase's deck plays any other one prize cards, so.
Yeah. So it's
I guess I'm pulling on.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, this is not looking good. I think if I'm Chase here. Yeah, I think rushing in is fine.
Might as well like try a couple more turns because like this deck has such a good matchup that it's worth.
Well, you can also kind of get like I think what Steve should do here 100% is just Emerald Slash again.
Yeah.
But you could potentially put a player in a position where they want to just get the knockout on the Keldeo, which is like what he might do.
Well, he can actually win, right? If he does 20 and knocks out the Keldeo.
Oh, right, because it can knock out.
Yeah, what? Oh. Does Sphere Tomb have 80?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thought it's 70, my bad.
So Chase just reveals a hand of actually unplayable cards. So yeah, it didn't end up mattering there, but I definitely think that if I am Steve, I definitely just Emerald Slash. There and build up my board a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's very possible that with Steve, we were just talking about how much energy matters, and if Chase top decks a Juniper or something and gets back into the game, I think it will matter. And that's always one of the things I say is so powerful about the Virizion deck, is it just gets to Emerald Slash for infinite amounts of turns if your opponent's doing nothing. So that's an unfortunate game for Chase, but it's the way things go sometimes. I also wonder what the atmosphere of this tournament is like, because I think you stopped playing super competitively around the same time I did, maybe a little like the year earlier, and back when I was playing, a lot of players didn't have their invite at this point.
Yeah.
And it seems like almost every player in this room who thinks they're going to have an invite has one, and so I wonder what it's like to be a Chase Moloney, to take a ferry from the island you live on and come down here and play in a tournament that really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think in Chase's case, where he has a high chance of winning the tournament, it's not bad, but if you don't think you have a chance of actually winning, I just the motivation goes down so much to travel and everything.
I mean, I can definitely see a world where, if the 300 championship point threshold sticks, 3, 4, 5 years from now, the older players, Chase is still pretty young, but players like, Jacob Van Wagner, Serena Adu, who are in their mid-20s, earn their invite and then just don't go to any more events because they get busy with other life things, Which is cool that it provides that.
And Ross, too. It's definitely a good setup for people who have other things to do.
For sure. And I think that's necessary, I think that at some point, if you accept that you want to have that older crowd in your game, you need to not expect them to travel to tournaments every weekend. And I think it's also just a win-win for the younger crowd too, because you want the younger kids to feel good about playing Pokemon. So you give them a Worlds invite, they get to have a, even if they don't do well at the event, they get to have a cool bag, go on a vacation, just a win-win all around. I understand the argument that it kind of can dilute the quality of the event a little bit. I definitely think that the average player at Worlds the past couple of years is probably going to be better than the average player this year, but 300 is still a relevant amount.
Yeah, I think it could be 350, but it's probably not a big difference. They've been messing around with it the past 2 years or whatever.
Yeah. So it looks like we're going to have Chase going first. Battle compressing some Empoleons, taking a look through his deck. The free look at your deck is also just important with Battle Compressor. It's something that people don't really think about, but
assume he'll get rid of a water here, but not sure. He already had an egg in his hand.
It depends on the contents of his hand a lot, because I think if you don't have any energy, you definitely keep all of it.
I think I saw Sycamore, though. Okay, Floatstone. Just something he won't need.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up. I think that there's so many times where you just are going to take 3 with Battle Compressor. I wonder if it's ever right to take 2. Obviously,
I think only a later
if you're going to deck yourself or something silly like that. But I think a lot of the times, there's cards you're just not going to need. We saw Chase with the Rough Seas last game, and, if you have 2 Mega Manectrics, you're doing another one, things like that. Chase has a Mega Manectric.
And the Spirit Link, so.
And Steve actually stumbling a tiny bit here, opening with Genesect over Virizion.
Yeah.
Obviously, going to switch it out with this Ultra Ball is what I'd like to see. Not sure if he has a switch card in his hand, but
it just makes it a pain to get the switch to get the Virizion.
Yeah, because the deck's I'm not going to say the deck's only good because of Virizion, but turn 1, your win percentage of the times you get a turn 1 Virizion is so high. You really want those 2 attachments to be on Virizion.
Yeah, especially again against this Manectric deck that just will outrace it.
So much that actually, I'm a big fan here of just attaching to the Virizion, and then just, when you play switch cards, just hoping that you get the switched over the next couple turns.
Yeah, Virizion's one of the only decks I've played in the past year or so, and the plan is just always to tunnel vision onto Virizion, pretty much.
I think he did draw a switch. He drew one of the golden cards at least. Might be versus Seeker. And having to play the Plasma too is not a good sign. You run enough grass on the deck, of course, but it's an acro bike. What do you think of acro bike?
Oh, I think it's really good. Pokédex had its time when it was out.
Did Pokédex let you discard, or was it just
No, it was
under?
bottom of your deck
that's
or
what I
whatever.
thought. That's what I thought. Which is actually
The acro bike's better.
acro bike's
so.
just much better. Yeah,
Yeah.
discarding cards is just so much better.
Yeah. Especially in these decks that want to go through their entire deck so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think ever since the since the black and white era when Eels came out, and like you had Ultra Ball around that same time, discarding has always been a resource. I'm sure it was other times in the game before that too, but since then it seems like it's been pretty solidly. Dark Patch too. Dark Patch is one of the most incredible cards.
Yeah, Pokédex was really good in Lucy, if I recall correctly. And like, imagine if that was acro bike. That'd just be absurd.
So Chase computer search for a Sycamore. Looks like he's lacking the second energy.
Yeah.
He propagated the Ultra Ball into what I assume will be another Manectric. Oh no, that's Virizion. Okay, that's actually much better.
Yeah, he doesn't need the second one right now, especially with this Virizion.
Yeah, this Virizion is so much more important.
And he gets two more anyway,
Well,
so.
and he hits the energy, which is crucial.
I don't think he has energy in his discard pile, but even so, doing 110 to that Genesect is really nice. Oh, there. Okay.
Yeah, he can discard one. I'm not sure if he has any others, though, because I think at the beginning he Battle Compressored 4 Empoleons.
Yeah.
Where's the Manectric? So yeah, no energy. Just gonna go ahead. 110. Speed up the other Manectric. No reason to play the Spirit Link next turn. It's better to just. I think we've probably seen that Steve doesn't play any kind of tool.
He plays the Retriever.
Yeah, that doesn't affect Chase's
Yeah, so
stuff.
it doesn't. You know, maybe he plays one Megaphone, but.
Yeah, it seems like I don't think he can commit that many spots though. So there's the energy and the switch. And I know it's just turn 2, but this feels so late.
Yep.
Like because of all the advancement that Chase has, it feels like such a stumble.
Yeah, and also he doesn't have another Genesect, so he can't even attach them to a fresh one.
Yeah, it's gonna go ahead and attach them to the Virizion, it looks like.
And this is really awful. Virizion does nothing against the Manectric. And he gets the second one, and looks like it's going to be pretty much a repeat of game 1, but Steve is in an even worse position.
I think I'd like to see Chase, if he has a Lysander in his deck, get it here. It's very aggressive. He has no other supporters in his hand, but it would allow him to take 2 prizes.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter. Like, the Virizions are 0 threat to you, so you may as well KO the Genesect.
Yeah, like I feel like I don't even know if Chase plays Lysander for what it's worth, but I feel like at that point, just take the knockout. You know, you're going to draw 3 cards before anything else happens.
Yep. And he got the Kyurem there too, so he'll be able to start powering that up.
Oh, nice.
Or
Rough Seas.
Oh, Rough Seas, yeah.
There he is. 2 fully built Manectrics. Yeah, not dropping the Kyurem because he has no energy. So So no reason to expose it.
Yep.
And now Steve's just kind of in a rough spot where he just has these two Virizions, one of which is going to get knocked out if something doesn't happen. And then a Genesect he can't really do anything with. There's Jirachi.
And he'll draw a good amount off this Colress, but the problem is there's basically nothing in his deck he can draw that deals with Chase's setup.
You may begin.
Yeah, I mean, Chase just having the two Manectrics fully built up now, one of which is going to have one damage counter on it after the rough seas, is just going to be so hard to deal with. There's a second Genesect. So Steve's going to go ahead and sacrifice that Virizion, not bothering to retreat to the other one, which I think is fine. I guess I would like to see him retreat to it just because it doesn't seem like it matters too much. You know, like he can discard the Plasma, so energy, he can't energy switch or anything silly like that anyways.
Yeah, I think I would have liked to see the retreat too.
Especially with the, two basically free prizes, and even the Mr. Mime actually. The Mr. Mime allows it so that Chase can't do anything tricky with sniping.
Right.
And then he already has Jirachi and the damage and it's like on the board.
Yeah. Rough Seas is so nuts.
I really like Stadium. Like, probably my favorite card type in Pokemon. I really enjoy the idea of like these are different stadiums that you're playing and you have to think about it, which I think the past few years have been, especially this season.
Have been pretty well designed for a long time. Like I think the lowest point for stadiums was probably in the beginning of Darkrai. So
Or was it like just Fairbank?
Yeah.
I think the time during like the XP era, all you really had was Broken Time Space. Like I guess you had like Sunny Shore and a couple other fringe things, but I really like the idea of having to play like the stadium game, like Tropical Beach, and when that was legal. And the Virizion deck doesn't run one, which is why Rough Seas are just so.
Yeah, and back in like
nice.
Crystal Beach and those stadiums were really cool.
I didn't play back then, but those stadiums seem very powerful.
Yeah. So he gets another Genesect. It's nice, but he's not even going to be able to take any prizes here.
Yeah, I just don't know. Chase just... I mean, on the board, Chase, like, if there's some way for Steve to take the knockout on the Manectric, Chase has two responses, and one of which is a one-hit KO on anything.
Yep. And it's interesting that this is a lock deck, just like based on HP alone almost, rather than being trainer lock or energy removal or whatever.
Right. And we see the Jirachi there, but I think I would have preferred the Spiritomb.
Very short-sighted. Just wants the two prizes.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, I think that Chase is definitely in the driver's seat, but I think taking the prize in the Spiritomb is so much more important to actually allow you to get something going.
Yeah, potentially win the game, right?
Yeah, like I think the only way you're going to win the game is if you can one-shot something.
Yeah.
And even if you have a reasoning like you have another plasma in your hand, I would think you want to take the Spiritomb first, just to take the fewest prizes. Don't let your opponent end you down or anything like that.
see what Chase decides to do. He doesn't really have to do anything else other than declare attacks.
Yeah, I think he can just start attacking. I mean, I think he does have to worry because he is, now that there is a Genesect fully loaded and one on the way, he is trading 2 shots. I guess it's not even true. I think it's not even true with the rough seas regardless.
Yeah, you need a muscle band.
20, yeah. And then Chase is setting up a similar position that he had last game, which is just, if you leave this Genesect, which is your only reasonable attacker up, I'm going to knock it out, and then I have a black Curum for next turn.
Yeah.
And it looks like Steve does have that second Plasma Energy in hand, so this is where things actually start to get interesting. Steve...
I guess for the Spiritomb now.
I think he has to, though, you know, like, I think he has to at some point.
Yeah.
Like, Steve is definitely making a comeback here. I don't know the likelihood of him actually winning the game, but he is going to be ahead on prizes and be allowed to play his G booster. And if, you know, if he wins, this is how, you know, the following things happen. A whole bunch of other things happen as well, but I definitely think he should retreat. Oh, I guess he can't. Oh, wow.
Yeah, he can't attack with the other one. Yeah, I don't think there's...
just one prize,
yeah.
Oh, well, that's...
There's a way to win here, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a lot worse. Well, I thought that he would actually be able to attack with the other Genesect.
Yeah, because the Curum will just be able to respond again for the final 2.
If he had been able to attack with that Genesect, I think he may have been able to win this game.
Maybe. Would have been a stretch.
If he could drop the G booster next turn... Well, I guess the G booster wouldn't have even knocked out the... I guess it would... No, because he can just use it.
Yeah, you need Deoxys.
Interesting.
Which he might not play.
I haven't seen one, I don't think.
Since he plays Mime, so...
Chase just attached a Spirit Link to his Black Curum by accident. I think he meant it to be another energy from his discard pile. Probably won't end up mattering.
That's also easily fixed.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear what was going on.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah. So Steve takes some time to think, but I mean, he can promote the Mr. Mime, but that just gives Chase another turn of building up energy.
And Rough Seas, which he does not even need anymore.
Yeah, so he promotes the Genesect, getting what he has to do. He can't even attack if he has no other grass energy or energy switch. So it looks like the writing's on the wall. The Dene in his hand again is fine. It will do
40
some amount of damage, but it's not going to solve the issue at hand, you know?
Yeah.
He definitely already attached to it. Yeah, okay. So I think Steve's realizing he doesn't have many, if any, outs here. Desperation Juniper. And I think this kind of the whole overarching thing of everything we've been saying is that this deck plays so well on the board that in other decks, the Manectric deck does. In other decks, you could say like, oh well, if he just ends them to 1, you know, but this doesn't matter because there's the Lysander, and that's going to be the game. Chase Moloney advances to 4-0 here in Seattle. Be back soon for round 5.